welcome back. We're here at Healthcare Unblocked 2019. We've had some fascinating conversations going on so far today. All things, of course, within blockchain, and I'd like to say as well within cybersecurity and any predictions that are going on right now. I'm delighted, though, to be joined by, I suppose, the person who's put all this together now. I'm now joined by Helen Disney, who is, like I said, the person who puts it all together right now, who's the CEO for Unblocked Events. Helen, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for being here and speaking to lots of our speakers.
And give us an overview of how hard it is and difficult, because it's all glossy on the day and all lovely to connect with these people. Give us a bit of an overview of how hard it is to pull together something on this scale for events.
Well, each event takes quite a few months of planning. I mean, obviously there's the speaker management and finding the right people to present the ideas, which is probably the largest part and the thing I spend the most time on, because to me a good event is high quality content and people with interesting ideas. So I spend a lot of time on that. But, there's always a bit like a sort of a swan with a serene, top half, and then the little legs are paddling under the surface. And the paddling under the surface part is the bit that people don't see, where the wrong agenda gets printed, or the badges don't get printed, or, you have to change people around because someone had to cancel. So there is a lot of work, but it's around a sort of 4-month process of doing everything from the sponsorships to the speaker management to the actual logistics of the day. So by the time it's over, we're always ready for a good cup of tea.
Absolutely. I think more than a cup of tea.
A gin and tonic.
I was going to say, that's more on my wavelength anyway. So, obviously today it is largely around health tech and within medtech as well. Do you run any other events throughout the year with Unblocked Events, and within any of the different verticals as well?
Yeah, so Unblocked Events was set up broadly to educate people about blockchain, what is blockchain and how does it relate to your particular sector. So as well as healthcare, we do an event around supply chains and blockchain. We do events on energy and environment. We've done research around so-called GovChain, so the implementation of blockchain in the public sector. And we've done an event around creative industries, so how is blockchain being harnessed by music, film and TV, as well as media, to try and monetize content for the content creators and protect people's intellectual property.
Yeah, and you educated me on this the other day, actually, prior to this event, actually, that healthcare only takes up 6%, and medtech only takes up 6% of the current blockchain market. How important is it, though, pushing forward into the future, medtech, compared to the likes of other avenues such as fintech and any other verticals that use and utilize this technology?
I think probably of all the other areas outside of fintech, I mean, obviously fintech is still the biggest kind of area where blockchain has been invested in and been prevalent in terms of the companies doing sort of financial services related projects. But there are so many problems in healthcare that need to be fixed. It could be medical credentialing, it could be kind of data management more broadly, patient empowerment, clinical trials and the kind of development of new medicine. So I do see that healthcare will be a big growing area for blockchain. There has been actually an increase in investment in healthcare blockchain companies, but the activity on the surface is more quiet because people are actually building the projects, and we're still at an early stage in terms of the tech. I think in a few years' time we'll see major pharmaceutical companies, major healthcare insurance companies, and others really investing widely, and it'll become a lot more mainstream.
And what can we expect next? Because like you said, 4-month break, well, it takes 4 months to do this, probably a 4-month break afterwards. What can we expect next from Unblocked Events and within medtech as well?
So we actually haven't quite finished our events for the year. So Monday we're involved as a partner on Digital Impact Week, which is an event all around social impact and blockchain. And then for next year we're planning a renewal of our GovChain project. So we're going to be adding more countries and more interviews with policymakers around what's going on in the public sector implementation. And then next autumn we will obviously have the 4th iteration of Healthcare Unblocked, and hopefully we'll be building out some more content around the topic as well. So obviously we've got the videos and interviews that we're doing today that we're going to be sharing, but also we want to start building out our research more in this area as well. So there'll be a lot more to keep in touch with. You can find us on our LinkedIn group for blockchain and healthcare. And also we have a lot of resources on our website at www.unblockedevents.com.
I can recite that, tip of my tongue. It's cool. So obviously within public sector as well, very important right now, in particular within healthcare too. What can we see, though, that the two are going to be working together at the next event, which is going to be covering all things within government?
So obviously public sector implementation, healthcare is just one part of that, but there are use cases that we talked about today, like doctors' credentials being validated within the NHS. There could be many other areas within healthcare as well that would relate to the public sector. And then within public sector more broadly, you've got things like land registry, you've got potentially voting on blockchain. So you've got a lot of different examples where the public sector can potentially push this out more widely, get rid of paperwork. I mean, one...
Local government too, maybe?
Yeah, potentially local government as well. In fact, I was just having a conversation the other day with a large tech sector industry body that does a lot of work with local government, and there are some pockets of innovation going on where people are piloting these kind of projects, especially in different parts of the NHS, because the NHS is like one big brand name for multiple different small organisations. And so actually, if these kind of pilots prove successful, they can be spread out much more widely across the whole system.
And just a final thought as well on today, Helen. Give us the overview. Have you enjoyed it? I know it's been stressful for you, but have you enjoyed it? And what have you taken out today that you've enjoyed most?
Well, I absolutely love Healthcare Unblocked. I had a long time working in healthcare policy before I got involved in blockchain. So for me, this is one of the most fascinating topics because I think it gives real ability for patients to take back charge of their own healthcare and be more empowered in the system. And that's something I worked on a lot in my sort of policy days. I think taken away, we've had an amazing range of speakers. And I didn't just say that because I organised them, but it's really fantastic to see the level of knowledge and people that combine both healthcare knowledge and the technology knowledge, because it's no good just having the technologists that know about the code but can't communicate to people who understand the way healthcare works. Without the people from the healthcare side, we've had a lot of medical doctors and other patient advocates here who are getting into blockchain. So once you get that intersection of those two, that's when you really start to see the projects accelerate. And that's really exciting for me now that we're 3 years in to see that it's not just a theoretical conversation. There's people with production use cases that are actually driving this forward in the real world.
Great stuff. Well, Helen, you're doing a fantastic job. Wish you all the best, obviously, in the future. I'm sure we'll be linking up more and more often anyway. So, yeah, thanks very much for joining us, and best of luck in the future.
Thank you.